It looked like just another old suitcase in a crowded terminal, scuffed, forgotten, unimportant. But when a trained K-9 froze in his tracks, everyone felt the air change. What officers unzipped moments later didn't just shock them. It shook the entire town and left hearts breaking worldwide. Travelers hurried past with bags in hand. The loudspeaker called out departure times, and the air buzzed with the constant shuffle of movement. Vendors shouted their offers, children clung to their parents, and security officers kept a steady watch over the sea of people. Among them was Officer Mark and his trusted K-9 partner, Rex, a German shepherd with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. To most passers-by, it was just another routine patrol. The pair moved with calm precision, scanning luggage, watching crowds, and weaving through the chaos as naturally as breathing. Rex's vest, marked boldly with Police K-9, caught curious glances, but no one paid much attention. Everything seemed ordinary. Suitcases rolled across the tiled floor, doors opened and closed, and conversations blurred into background noise. It was the kind of day where nothing unusual was expected, the kind of day officers hoped for, quiet, controlled, uneventful. But fate had other plans. Among the endless bags and hurried footsteps sat one suitcase that would change everything. And it wouldn't be a human officer who noticed it first. It would be our EX to AS. They moved through the crowded terminal. Rex's pace suddenly faltered. His ears shot up, his nose twitching rapidly as he sniffed the air. Officer Mark tightened his grip on the leash, immediately recognizing the change in his partner's behavior. This wasn't a casual pause. Rex had detected something. The German shepherd pulled sharply to the left, weaving past travelers until he stopped dead in front of an old, scuffed black suitcase. His body stiffened, hackles raised, a low growl rumbling from his chest. Mark's heart skipped. He had worked with Rex long enough to know this reaction was never wrong. Passengers slowed, their chatter fading into murmurs. Some stepped back nervously, while others craned their necks. Curiosity peaked. To them, it was just another bag. But to Rex, it was something else entirely. His paws scratched at the side, barking sharply. Refusing to move away, the ordinary suitcase had become the center of everyone's attention. Officer Mark raised a hand, signaling for the nearby crowd to step back. His voice was firm but calm. "Everyone, give us space." People shuffled nervously, some clutching their bags tighter, others whispering anxiously. The once busy terminal began to hush. All eyes fixed on the scuffed black suitcase at Rex's pause. Two additional officers rushed over, scanning the scene. "Could be drugs," one muttered. The other shook his head grimly. Or worse. The possibilities hung heavy in the air: illegal contraband, dangerous weapons, even explosives. Each scenario sent a fresh wave of unease through the gathering crowd. Mark knelt beside his partner, studying the dog's tense posture. Rex wasn't barking wildly. His growls were deliberate, his focus unwavering. This wasn't a mistake. Whatever was inside that suitcase wasn't ordinary, and Rex was determined to make it known. That a mother clutched her child's hand, pulling her close. Phones began recording, eager to capture what felt like the beginning of breaking news. Suspicion had turned the forgotten bag into a threat, and the truth was seconds away from being revealed. The suitcase sat motionless, its zipper glinting under the fluorescent lights. Every sound in the terminal seemed to fade. The rolling of bags, the chatter of travelers, even the distant announcements over the loudspeaker. All that remained was the steady growl of Rex, his body coiled tight like a spring. Officer Mark exchanged a look with his partner. "We have to check it," he whispered, his voice low but steady. Another officer slipped on protective gloves, kneeling cautiously beside the bag. The crowd leaned forward, holding their breath, phones raised to record the unfolding scene. Every second stretched unbearably long. Rex barked sharply, teeth bared, as the officer's hand reached for the zipper. The dog lunged, pulling at the leash, warning them of the unseen danger inside. Mark steadied him with a firm command, though his own pulse raced. With a slow, deliberate motion, the officer tugged the zipper open. The crowd gasped, the silence breaking like glass. What lay inside wasn't what anyone had expected, and it was about to shake the entire town. The zipper slid back with a harsh scrape, and the suitcase fell open. At first glance, the contents were hidden beneath an old blanket, its fabric worn and stained. The officer pulled it aside carefully, and the entire terminal seemed to gasp as one that inside wasn't drugs, weapons, or stacks of money. It was movement. Small, fragile movement. Curled together in the cramped space were three tiny puppies, their whimpers faint but desperate. Their fur was matted, their bodies trembling, eyes wide with fear. They had been stuffed into the suitcase as though their lives meant nothing more than discarded clothes that a wave of shock rippled through the crowd. Some covered their mouths in horror, others whispered in disbelief. A child pointed, asking softly, "Why would someone do that?" The officer froze, his gloved hands trembling as he lifted one of the pups out, its tiny chest rising and falling unevenly. Rex's growls softened into a whine, his sharp eyes now filled with concern. He inched forward, sniffing the rescued puppies with careful tenderness. The once threatening suitcase had revealed a truth darker and more heartbreaking than anyone imagined. And it was only the beginning. The terminal exploded with noise. Gasps turned into shouts, and people surged forward, desperate to see what had been hidden inside the suitcase. Security officers quickly raised their hands, pushing the crowd back, trying to maintain order. The puppies whimpered louder, their tiny cries piercing the chaos. Some passengers broke into tears at the sight, unable to comprehend such cruelty. Others angrily muttered about the kind of person who could abandon helpless animals in such a way. A few knelt down despite the warnings, reaching out as if their presence alone could comfort the trembling creatures. Officer Mark took one of the pups gently into his arms, cradling it against his chest. Its small body shivered, but gradually relaxed under the warmth of human touch. Rex sat close, his ears low, watching protectively. The once frightened crowd was no longer fearful. They were united by outrage, compassion, and the undeniable need to protect what had nearly been lost. The puppies were rushed to a nearby veterinary clinic, while officers sealed off the area and began questioning witnesses. Who had left the suitcase? How long had it been there? Dozens of eyes had passed it by, yet no one had noticed until Rex stopped cold. Now, the search for the truth began. Surveillance footage from the terminal revealed a shadowy figure. Hours earlier, a man had slipped quietly into the station, dragging the battered suitcase behind him. He had glanced around nervously before setting it down near the wall, and then walked away without looking back. His face was caught clearly on camera as investigators dug deeper. The story grew darker. The man was linked to an illegal breeding ring, where animals were treated as disposable commodities. When the puppies were deemed unfit, they were abandoned, left to die in silence. The revelation sparked outrage, spreading across the town like wildfire. What had started as a routine patrol had exposed a crime hidden in plain sight. And while anger filled the community, gratitude shone brighter. For Rex, the dog who had refused to ignore what others missed. His instincts had turned tragedy into a chance at justice. Days later, the puppies, now safe and recovering, curled together in warm blankets at the veterinary clinic. Their tiny tails wagged weakly, proof of lives given a second chance. Families lined up, eager to adopt them, their eyes shining with both sorrow and hope. At the station, Rex was hailed as a hero. The town praised the K9 whose instincts had uncovered what human eyes overlooked. Officer Mark knelt beside his partner, stroking his fur proudly. "You saved them," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. The suitcase that once carried despair had sparked compassion instead. And as the town moved forward, one truth remained. Sometimes it takes a dog's heart to remind humans of their own.